Since coming into the NBA, Anthony Edwards has been a nightmare to so many opposing defenders.
Edwards, yeah, ants are venomous.
With 2 road wins, 9. What a play by Edwards!
But the coaches are not exempt from this nightmare. Over the years, they've given different explanations for what makes Anthony Edwards so hard to guard, ranging from his insane athleticism to the aggression that never wears out. One even called him a stone-blooded killer. Another admitted that no matter how you build coverages and adjust matchups, Ant-Man is still going to get his. But let's start with the problem that shows up first on every scouting report. Anthony Edwards is in his 6th NBA season, and his athleticism has continued to get more explosive. No coach could have predicted the level at which he's playing right now. But maybe if they had a better prediction platform, they would have. Which brings us to today's sponsor, Kalshi. At Kalshi, they turn your predictions into possibilities. It's the first CFTC-regulated exchange where you can trade yes-no event contracts on real-world questions, from inflation to major legislation to the next big breakout in entertainment. Like, if I wanted to trade for Nikola Jokic to be the MVP this year, I just go to my Kalshi app, navigate to the NBA awards, select the yes-no event for NBA MVP, place my trade amount, enter my birthday, and complete sign-up. And then, when the Joker wins, I get paid. Everyone has something they follow closely, whether it's markets, sports, politics, or pop culture. You do the research, you follow the trends, and you trust your instincts. Kalshi gives you a way to put that knowledge to work. Let's say you're convinced the Fed will raise rates, or you've got a gut feeling about who's taking Game 7 of the NBA Finals. On Kalshi, you can trade on those insights, turning your opinions into outcomes. And just like the NBA brings that tip-off to buzzer-beater intensity, Kalshi brings that same thrill to your insight. You're not sitting on the sidelines with an opinion, you're in the game. Over 1 million users have already joined, with more than $2 billion traded, and it's completely legal and regulated in all 50 states. These are real money markets where people like you are trading on what they believe will happen. And here's what makes Kalshi stand out. It even pays interest on long-term positions, meaning you can earn while you wait for an outcome to play out. Join Kalshi, the marketplace for people who don't just cheer from the stands, they trade what's next. Your prediction, your contract, your move. Head over to Kalshi.com/hoopers and get $20 when you trade $100. Turn your "I've got a feeling" into action today. A huge shout out to Kalshi for partnering with us. Let me know in the comments what you traded and if you think your trade can win. But now let's get back to Edwards, who till now coaches have no answer for when he decides to attack downhill.
He's being ultra aggressive and definitely a big part of the scouting report.
You can load the paint, you can meet him early, you can rotate perfectly, and he will still arrive at the rim with force. At just 24 years old, he is already one of the most physically imposing perimeter scorers in the league, and the numbers back it up. Here's former Nuggets head coach with facts.
He had 43 points, he had 13 points off turnovers, he had 18 in the paint. He hit 3 pull-up threes, got to the foul line, but this may sound strange, but he's going to get his.
That is not praise. That is acceptance. And it's what separates Edwards from most young stars. That's why Jason Kidd said this.
He's been playing at a high level all season. He's one of the best young players, or take the young part off, he's one of the best players in this league.
Edwards has already cleared 10,000 points before turning 25, joining a list that includes Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Luka Doncic. But unlike most young scorers, he doesn't rely on finesse to get there. He forces the issue physically, again and again until something breaks. And once defenses start collapsing just to survive his drives, that's when the next problem appears. Anthony Edwards never runs from a scoring challenge, or any challenge for that matter. So when Jaylen Brown did this,
2 minutes of the quarter, Celtics down by 1. Brown trying to change that over Edwards, banks it home.
he responded with this.
Down to 5. Ant lost it, got it back. He's got a hoist. And hit! How about that from Ant?
You see, Edwards scores at all three levels, and he does it without needing a specific defensive mistake. He can rise into pull-up threes off the dribble, he can bully smaller defenders in the mid-range, and when defenses overreact, he goes straight through the gap with force. Combine that with his defense, and you understand why Coach Finch called him an MVP.
I think develop his playmaking and understanding how to manipulate the floor with the ball in his hands. I think he's got a really good feel for that now. Having been through it a couple years, now he's just got to execute and complete the plays that are there in front of him. And then just, continue to be that every night player at a high level that we know he can be, which is what you need to do if you want to be MVP in this league. And I certainly think he's got the DNA for it.
Indeed, he's got the DNA for it, as we're seeing this season. So far, Edwards is knocking down over 41% of his threes on high volume, while averaging nearly 6 free throw attempts per game. When a player can create shots and score at that level, it builds trust between the teammates, and Jason Kidd pointed this out when he said this during an interview. His talent, his smile is infectious. He has all the qualities and he is a star in this league. But his teammates trust him, and they should. He's one of the best players in the world. I think he is built to be a leader in this league, and he's shown that here in the playoffs. But this alone doesn't explain why he's so hard to guard for 48 minutes. Because when you finally start to focus all your attention on stopping his offense, Anthony Edwards flips the script on the other end.
Partially because I think he is already a good defender. I think he can be a great defender, a phenomenal two-way player along the lines of Kevin Durant or Giannis. Or I think Tatum's an elite two-way player. I think he's potentially a guy we talk about as being a top 5 player, and to be a top 5 player, you essentially have to be good enough to be the guy on a championship team. I think he's potentially that good.
JJ Redick sees that Anthony Edwards does not rest on defense. He hunts and he devours like all the NBA greats who had that killer instinct. During an interview, Coach Doc Rivers recalled his son, Austin, telling him in 2022 that within 2 years, Anthony Edwards would become the best player in the league. During the interview, the coach disclosed this. And Austin just said, "I'm telling you, he has everything. He's more mature than you think, and he's a stone-blooded killer." But the NBA is not new to two-way players who had that killer instinct. Besides the likes of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, there's also a legend whom Eric Spoelstra says Ant-Man reminds him of.
It's hard not to look at Anthony Edwards and not see Dwayne Wade in him. And I'm not a guy for comparisons, I'm not. But the way he moves, the way he competes, the way he electrifies a crowd, yes, that reminds me of number 3. And
interestingly, the college coach who trained D. Wade also trained Edwards in Georgia. And here's what he had to say about Ant-Man.
He played an incredibly efficient game. He was effective on both ends. He let his defense get his game going. His footwork and hands on both offense and defense were great. He got off to a wonderful start shooting the ball, but he was locked in the whole game defensively, on the glass, on the ball, off the ball. That's when he's at his best.
However, talent, athleticism, and defense don't fully explain why Anthony Edwards breaks teams mentally. That part lives in his mentality, and the Warriors coach Steve Kerr played a big role in helping Ant develop in this aspect. The first time Anthony Edwards met Steve Kerr was a wake-up call for him. Speaking on the moment during an interview, Ant said, "I thought I was working hard," Edwards said at the Timberwolves media day on Thursday. "When he came, I was going through drills and he kept stopping them like, 'That's all you got? That's all you got?' And I'm like, bruh, I'm going hard as you want me to go. What you want me to do? I'm sweating crazy." Steve Kerr later told the story of how it all happened.
I think it was in Atlanta. It was during COVID, so, nobody there. I think it's Joe Lacob, Bob Myers, and me. And then Ant goes out to work out with his trainer. We're the only 5 people in the whole gym. And after 15 minutes of just watching him lazily shoot 15-footers, I thought, when's the workout going to start? And it turned out that was the workout.
The mentality was missing, so Coach Kerr told him about his mentors.
More than anything, it was just a reminder of how young Ant was. I don't think he really knew what a hard workout was at that point. He was just getting started with his career, and then we had dinner that night, and Bob and I both, talked about Steph and Kevin Durant and Clay and how hard they work and what it takes to be great. And he was genuinely captivated by, hearing stories about those guys.
This was all it took to motivate Edwards to become a madman in the gym, as he later recalled. Me and my trainer riding home after dinner, and we're just talking like we got to pick it up, Edwards said. I don't know how, I don't know what we got to do, but we got to pick it up. After that, I became a madman at the gym.
But we went back and worked him out 2 weeks later, and the workout was way better. Like, he really went hard, and at that point we were sure.
Now Anthony Edwards has fully grown to become Minnesota's leader and #1 fear factor. And like the other coaches, Steve Kerr is ready to live with the monster he made.
Yeah, Ant is an amazing player, and I love his energy. I love his infectious enthusiasm for the game. He was amazing to coach. They are where they are because Ant is a superstar, and you have to have a guy like that to build a great team, and he's the reason they are where they are.
Today, NBA coaches have watched Anthony Edwards transform from a young player with potential to one of the most unguardable players in the league. He has so much in his attacking arsenal that there's no way to stop him when he gets hot. NBA coaches understand this better than anyone. But if this is what he looks like now, one can only imagine what he'll blossom to when he gets to his prime. But do you agree with Coach Doc Rivers and his son that Ant will soon become the undisputed best player in the league? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to see another superstar who forces that exact same kind of defensive panic, watch What Makes Nikola Jokic So Hard to Guard next.